According to the World Economic Forum, the skills gap is now the #1 barrier to business transformation, meaning the real risk is not technology, it's people being left unprepared for it. By the end of this decade, 92 million jobs will be displaced, while 170 million new jobs will be created. The question is no longer, will the world change? The question is, will we prepare people everywhere to change with it? This is job transformation at a global scale. And it isn't just about engineers or coders. It's about teachers, IT workers, bankers, entrepreneurs, and students entering the workforce. It's about all of us. That's why organizations around the world are stepping up. As part of our commitment to the World Economic Forum's Reskilling Revolution, we partner with academic institutions, workforce development organizations, and our ever-growing developer community to help reskill and upskill globally. Because reskilling is not just a necessity, it is the great equalizer of our time. When skills become accessible, opportunity becomes universal.
I built Global Co-op because there are 100 million refugees worldwide. With digital skill, they can climb up the social pyramid. And also with remote work, they can be anywhere on earth. And that's why we connect those dots with Automation Anywhere.
At Automation Anywhere, we are on a mission to fuel the future of work by unleashing human potential. And that future of work belongs to everyone, regardless of where they live or their background.
We are sisters from Gaza. We found ourselves here in Egypt.
Because
Stuck in Egypt. Our family is still in Gaza and we are alone here. Every day we learn a new thing, especially in AI.
it's a great thing, yes.
The Tenderloin has more children than any other district in San Francisco. And that means there's more youth that are in need of upskilling and learning. More children that need to learn how to get out of the Tenderloin and to live a better life and how to break the cycle of poverty.
I've worked with people with disabilities for over a decade now, and folks who are neurodivergent can oftentimes really excel in the tech space and in the tech world. They just need to be given a chance. And I'm seeing them step up and succeeding because the platform is so user-friendly. I'm seeing them grow. I'm seeing the platform grow, and year after year it builds on itself. And every single year it actually gets better.
With access to Automation Anywhere University for learning and teaching resources and certification scholarships, free access to Automation Anywhere Community Edition, robust programming for our Pathfinder developer community, and laptop donations for hands-on learning, we empower our partners and learners everywhere because access to technology can change lives.
Using these resources like automation and the laptops, we have learned many things.
Let me tell you about a guy who came to our program. His name is David. He lived in his car. Once we were able to get him enrolled in classes, get him a laptop, giving him the skills, giving him support and mentorship, he now has an amazing tech job. But not only that, they belong. Like, you belong in this high-paying job, in this technology field, and you can do it no matter what your background is.
Now that you've seen that minimum wage threshold that is being shattered here, it's raising that quality of life, and they're able to provide for their families.
So for those that are considering upskilling, the time is now. I think first is to figure out what your goals are, where you want to go. It's a great time to be alive at this point, I think, to be able to learn what is technology about and what it can do for us.
I want to learn as much as I can so I can help others. That's what an MVP means to me, really being that voice.
We conducted a massive workshop where 7,000 people doing something at that scale. That's where our partnership with Automation Anywhere will significantly help us. So now students get to access the best of technologies and learn the best of tech while implementing.
This partnership is helping us create some really meaningful new opportunities for our communities across India. We are confident that the same innovations driving global industry can also uplift those who have been historically left behind.
My name is Ibrahim Augustine. I'm 18 years old. I live in Tanzania.
My dream is that I can study these skills and I can teach them to a woman of Afghanistan.
The only thing that's going to matter is how quickly you can learn the new stuff that's coming. Because the person who's going to matter the most is the person who stays relevant. It doesn't matter if you have a PhD or a master's or which school you went to, none of that matters if you don't know how to reskill yourself.
We think that by using AI tools and partnering with great companies and organizations who are willing to pay it forward and support young people, we can then really expand the skill sets and upskilling of the next generation of workers. When we're working on things like these AI-powered internships with Automation Anywhere, that internship can be accessed by students from anywhere at any time. And so that excites me because it means we're going to have a whole different kind of person learning these skills and a whole different kind of person building the technology and businesses of the future.
Please give a warm welcome for the co-founder and chief impact officer of Automation Anywhere, Neeti Shukla.
Good morning, everyone. Two of the biggest mandates of our time are clear: reskilling our workforce and building AI responsibly. At Automation Anywhere, we think about this the same way we think about everything we do or build. How do we create a foundation that is ethical, scalable, and truly delivers? And it starts with a simple set of questions. How do we build a great business with a great product? How do we build a great product with great people? How do we bring in great people with a strong culture and the right practices? How do we build those practices? By putting ethics and humans at the center of everything we do. Because when you get that foundation right, everything else follows. So today, I'm excited to join on stage with Adi Kuruganti, our Chief Product Officer, to discuss what it takes to build agentic automation responsibly. Welcome, Adi. Hi, Adi. Good to have you on stage.
Thank you for having me.
I have a series of questions to ask you. One, to understand how we build it and how we are going to help our customers and partners build it. So my first question to you, what does responsible AI mean in simple terms?
So at its core, for us, responsible AI means it's both powerful and safe, because that's the lens we operate in as far as our customers using our AI offerings to power their mission-critical processes. And it's core to our architecture, how we've built our platform, built our product. In many ways, no different from how we look at security and identity. That's how we think about responsible AI.
The powerful and safe leads me to my second question. I know we've put together a responsible AI framework that spans the full cycle of our product life cycle. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so when we started, we've built AI offerings for quite some time, even before Gen AI, Agentic AI. So this framework in many ways is an expansion of what we've always done. So we defined this responsible AI framework across the entire, what we call the SDLC lifecycle, software development lifecycle, but it includes aspect of training and how do we redact data, how do we build custom models on top of whether it's AI ML or whether it's generative AI, the tooling around monitoring and observability, but then also the ethics around, okay, how do we use that data within our products? How do we make sure that customer trust is paramount? So how do we have the right training for folks around that? And other aspects of accessibility and accountability for how we use that data, but also how do we build agentic systems.
I love that because even at Automation Anywhere, I know the Responsible AI Council, has folks from across every department.
Yes.
So it's product, R&D, but even sales and HR and marketing, legal. And I think that's a great way to build a structure of culture of bringing responsible AI to fruition. My second question, why does this matter at all?
I think it matters because both the good and the not so good can get amplified with how AI is being used by our customers, but across the board in all our products. So obviously there's a human impact. A lot of AI, the engagement is with employees and end customers. So that can amplify across thousands and tens of thousands of users. And then if you think about the kinds of outcomes we're trying to drive for our customers, these are kind of mission critical outcomes touching, financial systems, healthcare systems. So there's a huge risk if things go wrong. So we need to have the right governance tools in place for that. And all this ultimately leads to a loss of trust. When you lose trust, you lose momentum. And so that's essentially, what we're focused on, ensuring the highest levels of trust and accountability to how customers apply this.
And I think that's something that sticks with me always is the human impact and the burden and the responsibility that we carry with it. Because like you said, it amplifies everything. It amplifies the good and what is possible, but it also amplifies the risk and what could go wrong. But that's excellent. My next question, is responsible AI a constraint on our innovation?
It's no different from security and identity. Security is not a constraint on innovation, and neither is responsible AI. In fact, if you have the right foundation, you can move faster. And that's what I tell my teams, and I think anybody who's built any AI offerings or any AI products or implemented AI knows this. You can't innovate when the foundation is not solid. And so for me, for us, the team, it's something that makes innovation sustainable and actually helps accelerate innovation on the mid to long term. And again, this is not something new to us. We've been doing this for quite some time.
That's fantastic. I think sustainable innovation, that's a core of what we do. Absolutely. How do you know, and this is, I think, true and a good question for the audience as well, but how do we know when we can trust an AI system?
Yeah, so there are various aspects of it. First, you need to understand what the AI system is doing. So how it's planning, reasoning, why it's reasoning a certain way, what actions it's doing. So this is something, if you've looked at our agentic systems, it gives you the full information at runtime. Then you have to have and by the way, this is both at design time, runtime, and the observability around it. So you need to have the full observability around it. Then the controls. What access do these agents have? Like what systems can they access? Who can access them? That's really important. Not only things like RBAC, but accessing systems. And then this aspect of, this is something new because in many ways, understandability and control is true for a lot of other systems. But continuous evaluation is really important. Some of you might have heard, I may understand the concept around model drift and agent drift. So continuous evaluation to say, okay, is the agent performing the way it was always performing? Are there any changes with other new models? So having that insight and real-time insight so that a customer can take action if something changes.
That makes absolute sense to me as well, because trust isn't something you achieve once, right? You have to. It's a continuous modem. I like that. And then my other question is, how is Automation Anywhere approaching this internally? How are we doing this? How are we building this?
I mentioned this earlier. It's as part of our entire innovation cycle. It's in our SDLC, our software development lifecycle, end to end. So that's how we've built it. Again, both the design, training, the observability, how we roll out products. But we also made it available to our customers. So if you think about some of the things we announced yesterday around model benchmarking, evaluation frameworks, the auditability, observability, all those are capabilities for our customers to also do the same as they're building agents on our platform. And we were one of the first of, I think, 50 or maybe 70 customers that got ISO 42001 certified, which is essentially the standard for responsible AI in the enterprise. And that's Just shows how important this is for us, but also for our customers.
The goal that you mentioned is quite simple, right? We build powerful systems, but they have to be governable, auditable, safe to scale, and have the trust of our customers and our own. Yeah. Thank you, Adi. The leaders in this era won't just move fast. We know we'll have to build systems that people can trust. Done right, responsible AI is not a constraint on progress. That's what we understood. It's what makes progress sustainable. Together, we can commit not only to unlocking the full potential of productivity through agentic process automation, but doing so in a way that leaves the world better than we found it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adi.
Thank you. We didn't shake hands.
Please welcome the Vice President of Developer Relations, Community and Learning at Automation Anywhere, Micah Smith.
I'm so excited. So ready to go. Hey! Super excited to be here today. I'm going to be talking about something where we're going to take everything that we've been excited about over the last few days and turn that into action that you can take home Monday morning. Now, yesterday, we saw a lot, from demos and keynotes to product announcements and a cowboy that could like jump inside of a lasso and back out. It was incredible. We had a lot of really good conversations in the hallways, in between sessions, and questions that were asked. And I wanted to kind of bring up two of those themes that I saw happening over and over again. The first is, there's so much excitement here. There's so many new announcements. I'm getting such a great vibe from customers who are trying to solve the same problems that I am. How do I take all of this energy back to work and turn it into something that can drive momentum for my program? The second question was around AI agents. How do I build agents that can meaningfully drive change in my organization? What do I actually build? What use cases should I build first? And I could rattle off a bunch of AI agent use cases, and some of them connect and some don't. But I think both of these things point to what I'm calling the Monday morning problem. You're headed back to work Monday, right? You've been in this environment where there's so much excitement, so many agents, so many new ideas, and you're headed back to work. And it's going to be back to the stand-ups and the meetings and the escalations and the unending team calls. And so I want to give you a strategy that you can take back Monday morning so that you can be effective in approaching your Monday morning day. Sound good? We all together here? A lot of energy in the room. Thanks, guys. I'm going to carry us for the beginning here. All right, so what I want to introduce to you is what I'm calling the symptoms of agentic processes, right? I said I could just tell you a bunch of AI agent use cases, but I want you to be able to identify these yourselves. I believe that if I can teach you the symptoms of agentic processes, then you can appropriately diagnose an opportunity that comes your way and appropriately prescribe where an agent should sit within a workflow. That's how you stick the landing on a medical metaphor, right? So we're going to talk about the three primary symptoms of agents. What this means is if your business process has one of these key symptoms, you absolutely need an agent. I will also introduce to you three secondary symptoms that will be in a workbook that I'm going to give you at the end of this session. If your process has one or more secondary symptoms, you may need an agent, but you need to evaluate the cost-benefit analysis. If your business process does not have any primary symptoms or any secondary symptoms, you may not need an agent, and that's okay. There's still a place for automation and intelligent automation even outside of agents. So let's get started with the first symptom. Symptom number one is ambiguous or variable input. And this is a situation where you can't predefine or templatize exactly what's coming in. You have to be able to read it, and you have to be able to react. And it's not going to be the exact same thing every time. The agent's first job is to understand what it's looking at. And then there's a sense of interpretation that's required. The tone, the sentiment, the understanding, the nuance. It's not just key value parsing, right? You have to be able to understand what's actually coming in. Who here has built an automation that started with an email trigger and it was like, hey, we're going to tell our business partners they have to send an email in this exact format with this attachment, and if they screw it up, it's not going to work. You have experienced some of ambiguous and variable input because inevitably that process broke at some point. The email wasn't formatted correctly, the attachment didn't come in exactly like you wanted, and automations have trouble with that, but agents don't. So here's our diagnostic question for this particular symptom. Do I know what's coming in and how it's formatted before it arrives? If no, then you need an agent. Examples of this include things like customer support emails, where I don't exactly know what's coming in. A customer could say, hey, I wanted to check on the status of my order, but also this last thing broke that you sent me, right? There's multiple requests there, and the tone and the sentiment changes how I might react. Vendor invoices, IT support help desk tickets, insurance claims, non-standard contracts. All of these are great examples of ambiguous or variable input. Who else has an example of ambiguous or variable input? Jason Dornblaser from Leidos does. Jason, come out here with me. That was going to be really awkward if I tried to call on someone. Jason, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Jason, tell me about a business process where you see this symptom showing up.
Yes, in our company, we have a vendor invoicing process that has a setup shared mailbox where our vendors send invoice information to. So you can imagine we get invoice emails with attachments, both structured and unstructured, that have to be processed, emails with information in the body that you have to pull out and extract and process. We also have emails that are like spam, people asking questions, not even related to the invoice at all. So we got to be able to process it all.
I love that. So what would it mean for your organization if you're able to streamline this process with an agent?
From the team working this level, it will allow them to focus more on the auditing and actually processing the invoice data. From a bigger picture total invoice process for the company, it will reduce the days to invoice, which ultimately has a positive impact on the overall cash flow for the company.
Love it. Jason, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, cash flow. Keep that in mind. We're going to circle back to these later. Symptom number 2 is contextual accumulation. I think this is personally my favorite of the 3 symptoms we're going to talk about. This is a situation where I can't exactly map out the exact flow before it gets started. What I find and what I learn at each step as it executes determines what steps need to happen next. I can't necessarily just draw a flowchart for the entire flow of what needs to happen for this particular transaction. Humans can do this quite easily, right? We get some kind of request, we check into something, we move on to the next step based on what we just found. Automations can't do that quite so easily, but agents can. And each step, each discovery builds on what we're learning and what we do next. So the diagnostic question that you can ask yourself for contextual accumulation is, does what I discover mid-process change what I need to do next? If yes, then you need an agent. I think a really easy way to understand this is an IT ticket request, right? Someone fills out an IT ticket and they say, hey, I'm locked out. And the automation that runs subsequently is not just unlocking the account, because they could be locked out for any number of reasons. Maybe their password got reset recently and they just got the password wrong. Maybe we detected some security logins from places that were not recognized and we purposely locked their account, and it's actually a security issue more than just an account access issue. Maybe that person never had access to the application to start with. We want to be able to investigate those kind of things because what we learn at each step determines how we need to treat this particular ticket. Healthcare patient triage is another good example. Complex billing disputes, equipment failure investigations, all of these are examples where what we learn at each step changes how we address the following steps. Any ideas of a good example here for contextual accumulation? I'm going to call on Mike Reynolds from KeyBank. Mike, come on out. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Talk to me about a business process where contextual accumulation shows up within your organization.
Oh, yes. So when I think of banking, we have several different apps, right? You've got your mobile app, you got your web presence, you got the IVR, all these different transactions flowing to you. And then hey, you have hiccups in the middle of the night with the system, a batch process hung up, and oh, by the way, hey, a new company comes in and wants to move $2 billion. What's the hurdles that you have to accomplish all these different goals? And they all come at you in one central place, right?
That's a challenge for sure. What would it mean for your organization if you're able to streamline this process?
Yeah, when I think of agents and being able to handle this, no longer are we bound by, let's say, the legacy RPA in the sequential world where we have to like go step by step, but we can be analyzing, systems off to the side, the transaction thresholds, the risk factors that come into play. And when you get that just mecca of all these different things coming at you, and then analyzing in real time, and then solutioning in real time. The transactions are seamless to the client. Our time to handle is dramatically reduced, freeing people up, and then our cost efficiency ratio just goes very, very well for us.
I love that. So sometimes it could be a business process issue. Sometimes it's an issue with underlying platforms, and you need to be able to figure that out. Cool. Yeah. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Our last symptom of agentic processes is multi-source synthesis. And this is a situation where no one system, no one data repository gives me enough information to be able to make a decision on its own. The answer only emerges when data from those multiple systems is brought together and understood in context. Context tells me the data from one system changes how I might interpret the data from another. No single system, no single person has the full picture. I'm not just pulling data here, I'm actually understanding how the data in these multiple sources has a relationship with each other. So the diagnostic question that you can ask yourself here is, could one system or one person alone make this call? If no, then you need an agent. Think of something like AP invoice processing. I'm not only checking the invoice against a purchase order, but I'm also checking it against the delivery manifest, the contract, even an inspection report. So I can't just automatically process that. I need to check it against data and other sources. KYC and AML is another good example. Loan application review. It's not just someone's credit score. There's a lot else that goes into it. Sales and pricing proposals, as well as customer service. So those are all great examples of multi-source synthesis. To tell us about an example of multi-source synthesis in his organization, join me in welcoming Rafael Braga from Petrobras. Rafael.
Hello, Micah.
Rafael, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting.
Rafael, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked these guys. Tell me about a process within your organization where this symptom shows up.
Oh, great, Micah. In Petrobras, we are a state-owned company, so we have a lot of specific laws, regulations that we must follow in every bid. So we need to make a lot of different analysis, compliance analysis, risk analysis, the supplier, if he has already other contracts, if Petrobras, how he's working with us. So it's a lot of different things that we need to do very fast because of the total time of the bid. It cannot be too much. And it's a challenge, and we are talking about 1,000 bids every year. So
yeah, that's a lot of work. So what would it mean for your organization if you were able to streamline this process with an agent?
Oh, it would be great, because like I said, it's so many different areas that we have to put in the bid to make this analysis. So to construct some goal-based agents for each of these subjects will be great for us, and we ask for the professional team to implement for us.
Very cool. Rafael, thank you so much for joining me. Awesome. So we just heard 3 different use cases demonstrating 3 different symptoms from 3 different organizations. Notice that all of them talked about benefits beyond hours saved, right? Most of us, when we're thinking of automations, we think about hours saved and money saved. But what I want to encourage you to think about is, as you start to get into agentic processes and as you expand beyond simple automations, you can start to open up the aperture of the benefits that your organization can recognize through agentic process automation. The way that I think about this, and again, there's guidance on this in the playbook that we're about to give you, is there are three kind of main buckets where these values fit. The first is financial and operational. I think of things like direct cost savings, where we think about what did we not just eliminate, but what did we reduce? Maybe we don't have to buy certain software licenses that we were going to buy otherwise. Maybe we're in a situation where we can build some things instead of buying them. Revenue generation. How do we do things to help improve our close rates? Did we sell faster? Did we sell to more people? These are things that agents can help with. Cash flow. Jason mentioned that in his example. How did it change how quickly cash moves through our organization? The second category I think of is risk and compliance. Subcategories in this include things like information technology. Where are we able to build something instead of buying it? Operational efficiency. How are we able to grow capacity without having to grow headcount? And audit, risk, and compliance. Where in our organization are we settling for sampling when we could be reviewing 100% of transactions? And not only reviewing 100% of transactions for the sake of audit, but what if we could find coaching opportunities for our staff and maybe even unlock upsell opportunities or signals from our customers that they're about to churn? So there's a lot of benefits on certain agents that go far beyond just hours saved. The last category I'll talk about is strategic and organizational. Customer and partner experience. How are we making it easier to work with us as an organization? Employee experience. How are we improving what it's like to be an employee at our organization? And environmental and social impact. How can we connect the solutions that we build to our ESG recommendations and things that we've been suggesting we can do through social and environmental impact? Now, no use case is going to check all the boxes for all of those. But as you're thinking about the story you want to tell and as you're prioritizing use cases, think about which of these boxes your solution can check. Now, I want to get into my Scrooge moment here. I want to talk about where you can find these use cases. And we're going to talk past, present, and future. So where can I find good agentic use cases that I can evaluate with these symptoms that I just learned? The first is I want to look back. What use cases did you walk away from because they felt too complex or too hard to scope, or they went beyond the capabilities of what I could do with automation? Some of those rejections were done rightfully so. Some of them were actually agentic processes you just didn't have the language to be able to identify yet. So I would encourage you to look at your backlog on those opportunities that you had to pass on to see what might be a good fit for agentic process automation. Next, I would encourage you to look at the present. Where are your existing automations bumping up against a handoff that an agent could own? Look before your process, look after your process, look midway through your process. Where are things getting so complex or so hard that it's difficult for me to approach that with an automation, but it's definitely possible with an agent? And then finally, as you look to the future, learn to ask better questions. Every use case that comes across your desk, every backlog item that you inherit from someone else, you now have access to a set of questions that enable you to ask before you commit. Thinking bigger and broader about opportunities. Where did this transaction originate? Where does it end? I don't want to own just a piece of that. I want to be thinking about the entire end-to-end process. And so I would encourage you to do that if you're not already. As people submit ideas to your opportunity intake pipeline, be thinking about how we can ask these kind of questions to understand the bigger scope of how this works. This is the kind of questioning that separates programs that plateau from those that compound their impact over time. So, as promised, this is the Monday Morning Playbook. If you scan this QR code, you will be taken to a PDF that has guidance on all of this. It has the 3 primary symptoms. It has the 3 secondary symptoms, which we didn't even get to talk about, but they're really good. And it also has guidance on our agentic impact measurement framework, so you can understand the multi-dimensional benefits of the solutions that you're delivering. So 3 things that I want you to take back next week as you go back to work. Number 1, pick a few processes, either in your backlog, something new that's come in, something that you're working on right now. Run this diagnostic. Go through this playbook. Ask yourself these questions. Can I diagnose any of these opportunities appropriately as agentic opportunities? Are they automation only? And where does an agent fit within that process? And third, prioritize on impact. Use that agentic impact measurement framework that we gave you to understand which opportunities can drive the biggest impact for your organization. A key here is to make sure that those opportunities are closely aligned with the key objectives that your executive team is driving for. It's really important to make sure you dial in on that. All right, so with that, go build something really great and tell me all about it in the community. I want to hear that stuff. I'm super excited for what you can do with this. Now, to introduce our next session, I'm going to welcome yet-to-be award-winning podcast co-hoster, Kate Ressler, to the stage. Kate.
Good morning. Did you just say award-winning?
Yet to be award-winning. It's just a matter of time at this point. Kate and I launched a podcast earlier this year. It's called Agentic Edge. I would strongly encourage all of you to check that out because it's a great way to learn about how automation programs work and the future of automation. We just did an episode with Mike Reynolds, who was out here, who talked all about how he's thinking about upskilling his organization. So
we also organized one, launched one just the other day with Nancy and Mihir about their book.
That's right. So that's another great episode that may or may not be out yet, but pretty soon it will be.
Yes. Okay, Micah, I was super excited to be traveling to Dallas from Kansas City, my hometown. And when I travel, I really like to find out a little bit of stuff about the places I'm visiting. So I came up with a couple fun facts.
I want to hear all about them.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull them up real quick. All right. Did you know that Dallas has more restaurants per capita than New York City?
I would not have guessed that.
No, well, I wouldn't have either, but it turns out when you don't have a beach, you don't have mountains, and your football team is a little bit allergic to the postseason, you lean in real hard to the barbecue and restaurants and entertaining with food.
I love that. We're actually supposed to be standing in front of a restaurant right now, I think. Wouldn't that be magical?
That'd be very cool.
Okay. Kate, did you know that Tex-Mex is actually considered the oldest cuisine in the US?
I actually had no idea.
It is. It was actually before the state was formed. That was a thing. I have another fun fact for you.
Okay.
We're waiting for a transition right now, and there it is. All right. Perfect. These made a lot more sense when we're standing in front of a restaurant than when we're just standing here in front of a selfless promotion. Did you know that the frozen margarita was invented right here in Dallas in 1971?
Really? I love a frozen margarita.
The restaurant owner, I looked this up because this is actually real, Mariano, and then I checked it because it came from AI, so I wanted to make sure it was a real thing. Mariano Martinez decided to take home a soft serve ice cream machine and turn that into a margarita machine that now is in the Smithsonian. And that's a real thing. I didn't make that up.
Okay.
So, we talked about two things, frozen margaritas and Tex-Mex. What do those two things have in common?
Hot and spicy?
They both involve a little heat. And both are better when shared with good company.
Absolutely.
So, for our next session, I would like to introduce Ankur and Rushab to talk about our Customer Showdown. Let's go.
At Automation Anywhere, you guys know we like to bring different customer stories, but we want to bring them in different ways. And generally, last time someone asked me, why are you setting up so many bar scenes every time on stage? Because people speak the truth and they compete better. And anyways, so what we want to do in true Automation Anywhere style is all these years when we go out and meet customers, Rushabh, all our teams, our customers are always, they are very collaborative, they talk to each other, but there is this competitive side saying, how is my program better? What can I do to become better than that program? And we want to bring that story, that whole energy back on the stage. Every year we do that. So that's in our true style, this is that competition. And everyone participates. So let me explain the rules of the game very quickly. if I start, we have 4 leaders who are going to share their story in this TextMax. All of you are welcome. You are part of this restaurant, witnessing this fight, witnessing this challenge. 4 leaders talking about it, discussing this, and then we have 3 judges up front, and we're going to introduce them very soon, and 3 rounds. And they are going to share their story. They're going to say why their story is better, and you guys are all going to influence the judges to vote in your favorite winners, in favor of your favorite winner. So you guys are going to listen, participate, think you're in a bar, think you're in a restaurant, you're witnessing a very, very good argument and a challenge that is happening, and you got to pick the winner, right? So you're going to influence the winners, judges, and that's what we're going to do. Rishabh?
All right, should we bring the participants on? All right, let's invite our 4 brave participants for today's session. Come on over. So we have Sumit from Freshworks, Mihal from MCore, we have Travis from the Church of Jesus Christ, and Jen from Veradigm. And then I'm going to introduce the 3 judges. Claire, you've heard her yesterday.
Can the judges
all
stand
3
up,
judges,
please?
if you can stand up. We have Claire from NHS, we have Kendall from JDA Group, and Nitin from Cognizant. These are the guys who have built programs, helped build programs for all of you. So they're going to eventually judge who's the winner amongst these 4. Please, let's give a big round of applause for all the participants and the judges.
Can we get started now?
Yes.
Ready? All right.
Okay, so let's set the stage. You guys are going to get 60 seconds for the question. The first question is, so that everybody understands what are all the wonderful things that you have done so far for last 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long your program is, but put it all in 60 seconds, right? Tell us about something that you have done which is of significant business impact as part of your automation journey. And we'll go in this order, and then we'll change it up as we go. Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Great conference, first of all. I think we all agree. So kudos to you guys. So I'll just take an example of the latest things what we've done. We've reduced our HR cases, tickets by 50%. And the way we've done it is having a conversational bot answer policy questions, answer PTOs, et cetera, from our knowledge articles and from our HR policies. So that has reduced the volume of tickets and the reply time that we have by 50%, and the answers are instant. So that's what we've done more recently.
You have 18 seconds more. Sorry. You have 15 seconds more.
Oh, I have 15 seconds more. Yeah.
This is a record. No one has finished this fast.
Yeah, it's been taking great. Our C-suite is very excited about it, and they love it. They're playing with it. They're giving us feedback.
All right, thank you.
Oh, we forgot to say that. We generally play the Oscar music once someone goes over, but.
We'll hear the music take us off. So yeah, everything with us started when our relationship with Automation Anywhere started. So we evaluated and migrated close to 100 automations when we first started our relationship. And from there, we focused on Automation Anywhere as our main tool. So we looked for opportunities across all of Amcor, across all of our 10-country locations to keep bringing automations over to Automation Anywhere and focus on that technology and those developments. We've also tried to integrate latest AI features like document automation, Automator AI, using some of that to evaluate our current automations as well. So trying to take it from there and build on that win.
All right.
Most part.
You are also
That's all I had
way ahead of time. All right.
Wait, sorry.
Everyone
all right, Travis.
Travis.
Is this on? All right.
Our automation journey has been amazing. We've been with Automation Anywhere for 7 years. I think the thing I'm most proud of is automations that have impact on people. As a church, we are in the people business. One of the things that we've put into place is helping local leaders get food to families in need. We have an automation that runs and helps process and pay for food for families in need in 21 countries around the world. We're expanding that. It's increased the time to get food into those homes with hungry children by 93%. We are excited to be able to partner with larger vendors like Walmart and Kroger to be able to continue to expand that process. And be able to fulfill orders automatically and also have delivery automatically. So we're excited about that.
All right, Jen.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to compete with that, but here we are. Veradigm, we're a RevCycle company, so if you're not aware of that, it's healthcare, billing, and all that. If you are in the RevCycle world, you're aware that we are a reactive sector, right? We see a fire, we have to put it out, and automation, through Automation Anywhere in particular, has changed the game for us. And in particular, if I want to settle on one big impactful, we have taken our process of bringing in remittances and processing them through our RPM. That was a very human process, and I personally did that process for years. Especially at the end of the month, I'm missing out on Halloween with my kid, I'm missing out on New Year's Eve parties because it had to be done. We replaced that human, and people are now having slightly better lives because of it, along with the revenue that comes with it, along with reassigning our people that were doing mindless work to much more thoughtful work. It was wildly impactful, both on a personal level and on a business level.
Perfect.
All right, right on time. Okay, so we just got warmed up. You guys understood what they are doing. Now the next question, we are going to just a little bit spice it up, right? Which function, the question is, which function they will first drive to autonomy in next few years? Which function they are leading, what's their vision, how they are taking it forward, and they're going to talk about it. But before, I think so Micah introduced that Texas is famous for many things, and there are 2 things that are there on this stage. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to listen to their answers, and then after the answer, we'll say hot sauce or frozen margarita. And those who don't drink Coke. Whichever you pick, they are going to have it. You can get them having a sip of frozen margarita or a dunk into the hot sauce. Oh, it is really hot. All right, you can pick the one. And you can pick, and they have been sports enough to say that we are going to do that. Like you see that in the bar scene. So we're going to try and replicate. So listen carefully. You can just get all of them drunk anyways if you just want to have fun. But at least pretend to listen and vote in the right direction that you think. All right? But with all fun and games, I think so the next one is, we've been speaking about taking functions and making it autonomous. And you guys have started that journey anyways. You guys believed in that vision, and you are leading in your organization on that. Should we start from here this time?
Yeah.
All right, Jen. Which function you're trying to take autonomous? Tell us about how the future is in Veradigm.
We have many things in our pipeline in the next year, but the one I'm most excited about is Doc Auto. If you haven't experienced it yet, I highly recommend checking that out while you're here. We want to, in particular use case, we want to take the paper EOBs, people strain their eyes to read and they come in all fuzzy. We want to take those data points off of there, turn them into 835s, turn them into ERAs that can be automatically ingested, and just automate that process beginning to end and save people that time, that effort, that eyesight.
All right.
Eyesight.
That is eyesight.
That's an interesting one.
That's a good one. EOB. Yeah. All right. She's taking, obviously, Jen is rev cycle management, taking explanation of benefits, right? Is that what we are saying? Yes. All right. All of us have seen explanation of benefits. That entire process running autonomously is what Jen is going after in Veradigm. Margarita, hot sauce. This is for them, not for you guys. Margarita? All right. Can we get a frozen margarita, please? Thank you. Great. Nice one. Keep sipping.
Amazing.
We don't get one?
Oh. For us in Autonomous, we're really excited about support. So the church is a worldwide organization. We have 33,000 local congregations in 180 countries, speaking 150 different languages. So the idea of being able to provide support autonomously 24/7, 365 is a wonderful blessing to the leaders. Our focus is really to be able to get our leaders out of administering and really into ministering and impacting the lives of the people in their congregations and in their communities. All of our leaders in those 33,000 are volunteers. They don't get paid. They're doing this on top of their day job. And so being able to lighten their burden for us, I think, is going to be a huge thing. So that's our focus.
Autonomous support. Awesome. Well, for Travis, we have two options. A Coca-Cola or really, which one? Fire. This one, real fire. Really hot sauce. This is a mean audience, I'm telling you. That's wrong.
It's a tough one to follow.
All right.
Yeah, good timing on our part. So tomorrow I'm actually kicking off our Amcor Automation COE. So that's our big undertaking recently with Amcor. Prior to this, I've been leading our finance automation COE, and concurrently we've had manufacturing automation going on across all our locations. So this is our big initiative under our One Amcor strategy to have an eye on all of our automations across all our business units for all of our locations. So like I said, I'll be kicking that off tomorrow. Concurrently, we're also implementing COE Manager to help us with our development lifecycle, have an eye on our full inventory of automations. And in the end, we're going to focus on a full end-to-end process for bulk of our automations so that later we can interject agentic solutions into those full processes. So that's our big goal.
All right.
Now, Mihal backstage
Margarita,
gave
please.
me his preference. But let's see if you guys can guess it right. Hot sauce or frozen margarita? Oh, we have a divided house.
Mix, yeah.
We have a divided house.
That's right.
Okay, louder. Hot sauce?
Margarita.
Dude,
Margarita
I think
wins.
so. You should try both. You can, I can't split. Okay, once more. They finally read your mind. Can we get a frozen margarita, please? Thank you. So take us home.
So for us, it's not just support, but also the user experience. So we're starting with HR. HR is going to lead the autonomous workforce. And with that, we've already started this conversational bot where it's answering questions for all employees. We're going to expand that to them being able to generate their employment verification letters or extract other documents that they have. And also then make it transactional. So it's going to be completely autonomous, and then other functions will follow us because our solution is going to touch all employees.
All right. Autonomous HR. All right. At least one judge started that, so you have one judge's vote for sure. Who shouted? I'm just looking for next year's contestant. Oh, okay. All right. Actually, hold on. Okay. All right. Go for it. Hot sauce? All right. Is there water there? Okay, all right, good.
Take the one that's open.
Oh, man.
All right. All right, go for it.
All right, last round. This is the one you pay a lot of attention to. So they've explained the context, they know where they're going. Now this is where a little bit lighter on the fun side. They've all heard each other's stories for the first time on the stage. They didn't know what they were doing. So now they're all going to go and explain why what they are doing is in some way better than the other three. We acknowledge and respect every program is unique in its own way, and it's amazing in its own way. But for the fun part of this session, they're going to go and explain why their program, their vision, their impact is better than the other three. All right, we go this way again.
Right, so for us, it's simple. It touches all employees. It's an HR solution. All employees can get answers. They can transact. Imagine you're at a dental office and you don't have information about your insurance. You can just pull it up with Slack. That's the solution we're building. So it's not just, one department and limited to that. It's all employees we're touching. So I think for that, it's a unique, it's one of the best here.
Okay. Autonomous HR. I think there is, as I said, you heard NHS and Claire led the way from autonomous HR. So I think there is one vote there. But yesterday, the HR booth was so filled that if you have enough of those guys still here, at least you are winning this one. Nihal? In supply chain.
So everybody raised their hand yesterday saying they used AI every day, right? So Amcor Technology creates products that support data communications, and it's going to be technology that we use every single day. So with our focus being on manufacturing and automating that process, I don't think it's even a competition across all these other companies. A vote for Amcor is a vote for all of us, and we all win. So.
Oh.
Yeah, he just needed half a minute to make a point.
Okay.
All right, Travis.
Okay, Travis,
Mostly,
first of all, before you start, all of us, this is such a cool story that all of us want. I can't get enough of it, but go for it.
Mostly, you should vote for me. I didn't understand what they were talking about. I'm an accountant mostly, so you talk tech, and I'm not great. I think for us, our breadth of impact, right, is why you should vote for us. This has the ability to have worldwide impact. Again, almost 18 million members across the globe, and I had the most hot sauce. So.
That you did.
Again, how am I supposed to compete with this guy? It's ridiculous. I will say this, though.
You know what you should say?
Yes.
Once I automate everything, we get more time to go to church.
What I will say is, if you were at the women's breakfast this morning, you know who to vote for, obviously. But I will say, we as a company, myself personally, we are so excited about automation. We're so excited about AI. We're so excited about where we're headed. We know we've only scratched the surface, and we're going to do amazing things, and we will be great. So we might not win today, but we'll win in the long run.
Ooh.
You have HR, supply chain, autonomous humanitarian operations. Just sounds awesome. Sorry, I'm not rigging it, but really. Bias. Sorry, I'm voted out. And revenue cycle management. Gen itself is good enough to win. You just say that. But revenue cycle management, completely different, 4 different spectrums. Real impact. real impact across your people, the impact you're having on your community, supply chain, and the whole revenue cycle management health. Health is kind of leading the way on this. So now comes all your time. There are 3 judges. They are judging on merit, not any kind of all this, but you get to influence them. Judges will take popular vote and then put in their expert opinion and decide a winner. The way you will do it is, you guys will shout. The more noise you make for the contestant, we have a
Shoutometer.
we have a
There is a meter.
There is a meter?
All right. Louder you shout, higher it goes.
So if you make noise, and it does work, like just let's do a test run. Everyone's. See, you kind of moved it. It's all live. Yeah, it's fine. Fully agentic. We have that solution. All right. So we start with Sumit, Freshworks, Autonomous HR. All right. Mihal, Supply Chain. Come on. Travis. And let's hear it for Jen. All right. Thank you. And then now I leave it to judges to decide and tell us the winner.
All right, you guys get 30 seconds to discuss. Good job, man.
That was pretty cool.
That was good. It was so fun.
How spicy is this? Some music?
I understand. If you have to follow that, it's always hard. Yeah, it's like it's unfair. Yeah.
Can we get a mic? Do we have a mic?
Can we get a mic for the judges or? Oh.
All right.
Are you ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Claire?
Stand up.
Yes.
We conferred on the front. The mic was passed to me to represent the judges, which I'm really pleased to do. And we had a unanimous decision.
All right.
So not a split.
Not a split?
Not a split. And for taking the hot sauce challenge and delivering on social impact, we thought that actually the value add of that and creating more time for people to volunteer and make a difference in the world was aligned to what we hear about Automation Anywhere's values. So, Travis,
all right.
the winner.
Travis.
We have an amazing gift for you.
That's real nice. That's the. But I don't know whether the winner gets the hat and everyone else gets a digital gift. I don't know who won. But that, look, if you enter a bar, there are 2 guys standing like this, 4 people sitting. You clearly know who is winning the debate. Right? But, ladies and gentlemen, these are great stories. These guys are doing amazing work. They are leading, they are path-breaking in their own organizations. But it takes a lot of courage and a lot of sportsmanship to come on the stage and sporting spirit to come and say this story in a fun way. So, big round of applause for everyone on the stage, our judges, and thank you for participating and being in this Text Max with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.
is actually now becoming more like a blueprint. And the industry will now start to use it. What they are doing in terms of the transformation across their entire order-to-cash value chain is something very, very inspiring. And that's not just innovation. It's like a real blueprint that all of you guys can also leverage from it. So please join me in welcoming Suneet and Nicholas from Hewlett Packard. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Let's stand here. Let's take a picture. I take this back. All of you will be sent a personalized one in your, to your addresses. So, and some of these are very heavy and people don't prefer to carry in the handbag. So, one question. Was there a moment where you realized that this can actually work? The transformation that you guys have undertaken, when was that moment, if you can share?
I think there was never a doubt, I would say, because we have some strong partners, just like you, helping us through the journey. So, and the use cases are really, really valuable. We know the impact is quantifiable. Great partners. So I think it was never in doubt. It was just a matter of perseverance and moving it through.
Awesome. Thanks for that trust in Automation Anywhere. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks. This next moment starts with a very simple question. What does the customer actually feel? This organization didn't just improve the operations, they engineered the speed, the responsiveness, and the outcomes around the answers. Bots in hours, AI in action, compliance without friction, and when that happens, the customer doesn't notice the technology anymore. They actually feel the experience. So let's invite Shanu from Hertz to share the moment with us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Stand here. Thank you. Mic for you. So tell us what had to really change within Hertz for you guys to move at this speed, the way you did.
Sure. Internally within Hertz, we've had a shift in mindset. So traditionally, we were managing it by measuring our outputs. Instead, we now measure by outcomes.
Okay.
So we used to ask questions previously, like historically, it would have been, how many bots did you deliver? So instead, now we ask questions more for every change about what is the bot delivering. So is there a customer impact? Is there an improvement in process improvement? Is there any time that's going to be saved? Is a customer experience going to change? That mindset shift definitely helped us. And this is fully tied in with our core values, which is own it, drive results, and be a unified team. So we don't work in silos. So everyone, including operations, technology teams, all of us work together hand in hand. And we delivered one unified solution. And this whole cultural mindset and transformation has happened because of a new leadership that we have. We are thankful to our leaders, including Gil West, Mike Moore, Dhriti Saha, for imbibing a culture where we can completely be innovative and help us take ownership and drive results. And I think what we've done is basically because of this culture, we are able to automate most of our process and help remove that manual effort that's there for our employees. So that way we free up their time so that they can actually focus on what really matters, which is improving our customer experience. And I think this award basically just reinforces that we are heading in the right direction. So thank you once again, and congratulations to everyone who is being celebrated today.
Amazing. Outcome versus output. Very well said. This next moment is when belief wins over the doubt. When others are still asking, should we? She was already asking, what's next? And this wasn't one automation. It was a series of waves: document automation, invoice quality, payment verifications, accounts receivable, all moving at once. And something in that journey where it really stopped being a project and it became a new way of working. That's the moment we are recognizing now. Please join me in welcoming the person you already saw in the previous session, Jen from Veradigm. Welcome back.
My mark.
Yes. Thank you. What was that moment when you realized it's much bigger than the project, when the whole team you drove with the passion?
So normally I'd feel weird about being an Automation Anywhere's cheerleader, but it's the Passion Awards, so I think I can get away with it. And the answer to that question is the day I saw it. As soon as I saw it do the smallest, I think the first thing we did was just a file move in Automation Anywhere's, and I was blown away, fell in love, and the potential that that one little RPA opened up in my mind, let alone the business, was just so impactful, so wild, so, I don't have a word for it. We can do so many things, and we have already started, and every time an automation breaks, or it doesn't break, but we struggle to get it going, you feel that frustration, and then once it works, you are re-powered with the opportunities that can come. It's just this endless cycle of, oh, that's amazing, oh, that's amazing, oh, that's amazing, it's so cool, can we do this, can we do that? And the answer is yes, and it's always yes, and it's just such an incredible tool.
I can see the passion already. I'm sure you guys can feel it too. So
I am expressive.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This moment begins with the word most teams accept as yours. But this team didn't. Faced with a major migration from one platform to another, no one wanted to commit to, and nobody said yes. And they delivered. Fast, unified, and future-ready platform consolidated on Automation Anywhere. And it was not just a platform shift, but it was a trust moment under tremendous pressure that this team executed. Please join me in welcoming our very own Mike Reynolds and Kristen from KeyBank. Congratulations, congratulations. Yes. Thank you. I guess what really gave you that confidence to commit when everybody was doubtful? Even I was doubtful, honestly.
Well, you weren't the only one.
Yes.
Confidence is really built on trust, right? And so what we did early on was an early proof of concept, 10 automations out of 108. We'll tell you that story over and over, just to see if we could collaborate. How are we going to communicate? And then Kristen really became that secret sauce that bound us all together between almost 72 different people in,
wow.
I'm going to say 6 months, but we had 2 months of compliance and regulatory to go through where we didn't touch anything. So really 4 months, I think that was a Herculean effort. And thank you so much for providing the resources and just everybody pulling together.
Awesome. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would, just to summarize, I mean, at the very basics of the project, clear communication, collaboration, constantly pivoting, when things started to go off the rails, realigning, from Automation Anywhere, Cognizant, and KeyBank, we worked so well together quickly, to achieve a common goal.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and congratulations. Thank you. This final moment that we're going to recognize is when technology disappears and the humanity shows up. This organization automated something most people would never even see: transportation prior authorization. But the result wasn't just the efficiency. It was time that was given back to nurses, time that was given back to the patients. And that's when you realize that it's not about automation. It's about the impact that these automations are creating on our lives on a day-to-day basis. So let's invite Shante from Texas Health to share this moment with us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us your experience and what drove all of these things and the type of impact you guys are creating.
Well, I think it changed at our organization. It changed the way we think about technology. And so it's not just about efficiency, it's about the impact. And what we realized in our automation is that we were able to give our clinicians time back at the bedside in order so they can focus more on the patient and less manual tasks that they were doing every day. And so that was a huge, huge win at our organization. And so it really allowed us to shift our mindset in the way that we look at technology and think about technology, that it's more than just a tool. It's something that we can use to support our people within our organization and improve our overall patient experience for our patients at our facilities.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Thanks to all the winners. One more round of applause for all of them. All right. Thank you.
Please give a warm welcome to our Senior Vice President of Global Channels and Global Alliances, Dharma Rajagopalan.
That's an AI picture, by the way. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. And very exciting to be here. See a lot of you. Thank you to all our partners. Thank you to all our customers. And today we'll be talking about stories. Everybody loves stories. And how about listening a story where we are going to stitch it with a partner and a customer together? And that's what we want to do. I would like to first call upon stage with Cognizant as our partner, Rahul Gupta. And then I also want to call upon Mike Reynolds and Kristen from KeyBank. I'd like to welcome them. They'll be telling a story about how we built it. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, Kristen. Rahul.
Hello, everyone. Mike, I know you spoke about our migration project, right? One of the most complex migration project, which at least I can say from Cognizant when we have done like so many multiple migrations, the complexity and everything. What was the real business case?
Yeah, to drill down into that, when I think of running multiple platforms, particularly RPA, Agentic, and trying to set the stage for the future, I think of simplification. When you're trying to build or turn RPA into agents, it's not a simple task. And doing that across multiple platforms, we definitely had hesitations. So of course there's some licensing, cross-training, reduction, and just overall simplification is where I would head.
Yeah, you are right, Mike. The complexities, especially migrating over 100 plus bots in less than 4 months and scaling up to close to 70 resources in no time was really good. So Kristen, moving forward, moving ahead, like, how do we really do this, like in terms of governance, coordination, the platform, like, and how did you kind of marshal the business resources?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there was a lot of pre-planning that went into that, documentation for all the resources that came on board, just planning our milestones and our execution, giving our lines of business partners a heads up, hey, this is coming, and working with them throughout the life cycle of their automations to make sure that they're integrated. There's a partnership there. They're validating everything that's going into production before it goes into production.
Yeah, no, thank you so much to both of you. Both Mike, you were the executive sponsor, and Kristen, we can never forget those meetings, right? Every day in and day out. So thank you. So, so what is the path forward for us? It's migration was just the beginning. So, it's more about now it laid the foundation for something bigger, right, Mike?
Yeah, and when I think of bigger, early on, Micah said it earlier, we have these agents coming into play. So we're moving from very sequential processing to reasoning and agents jumping in together, working with existing RPA. That whole vision, to move that forward, we've got to have all these parts aligned, governed, and really understanding what they're doing at any given moment.
Yeah, so as three of us, now we need to come together, and now we need to take it to the next level of agentic process automation. Let's do it. Thank you.
Be a great journey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. And just to summarize, by the way, nice shoes. The shoes are good. He looks taller than he is actually, so thank you. Thank you. You can just give it.
Thank you.
I think just to summarize, right, expansion to APA, we are talking about 100+ bots migrated in 4 months. And it's been from UiPath. This time we took it to the next level. So on the next one, we want to talk about the next partner. We are bringing in AWS. We've got Scott Russ coming with us, as well as we've got the customer, Milton, who's coming from Banco del Ostro. Welcome, Milton.
Okay.
Go ahead, Milton. Hi. The problem that you saw and how are you going to solve it? What did you guys do together?
Almost 3 years ago, we had a series of problems. I am running the back office of the bank. And when we started 3 years ago, we linked 2 vendors of RPA solutions. And after a year and a half, almost, we failed. And decided to re-evaluate our platform of RPA. And then we started using Automation Anywhere. The purpose of everything was how to deliver information consistently to our supervisors and basically our internal auditors plus the superintendency in Ecuador. So we had a series of troubles because of operational risks, compliance, and default with the supervisors. So we made a lot of enhancements with that platform. And we started our journey with the new solution after that. Yeah. That was a series of problems.
Yes.
And reputational problems even. Yeah.
And this bank is out of Ecuador, by the way. Go ahead. Yeah.
So thanks, Milton. This was a great opportunity for us at AWS to work with Automation Anywhere and Banco del Ostro, right, on this, what we would call a rehosting and a replatforming. Rehosting as moving from on-premise to the AWS cloud, and replatforming with converting the old RPA to new agentic workflows on Automation Anywhere running on AWS. So as I understand it, the project was completed on time and on budget within about a year, a very large project. And the immediate benefits that we see working with Banco del Ostro are, first of all, with the Automation Anywhere platform, they get immediate transparency, reporting, auditability, and all these capabilities for their workflows that they didn't have before that the regulators, as I understand, are very happy with. It's always good to keep them happy, right? And from the AWS side, it's the cloud-native capabilities of the platform. Automation Anywhere running on top of Bedrock scales to thousands of transactions per second, which they needed, right? It also manages the connections to their customers externally on their devices and to the regulatory entities to do fraud detection, claims processing, transaction processing, and other activities in near real time for this volume of transactions, all with a security model and an availability model that supports the necessity to be up 24/7. So it was a great opportunity to work in this partnership, and we've laid the foundation for a future-proof environment for where Banco dell'Austro want to go next.
Right.
Yeah. And would you like to tell something to our LATAM partners and customers too?
Well, sure. Yes, we have been working with Automation Anywhere during last year completely. And as you can see the figures, we completed 200 robots to comply with this set of our requirements, and that was a complete success. As he mentioned, we complied. Actually, we are complying with the superintendency, with our auditors, and we have enhanced our complete process, and the performance of the back office is now in another level. That's quite important to us.
Brilliant. Yeah. Anything in Spanish to our team?
Of course. Para mis colegas de la TAM, pues la asociación, el trabajar con AWS y Automation Anywhere ha sido sensacional. Ahora, es más, estamos entrando en un proceso mucho más delicado, que es el cierre transaccional a través de un proceso guiado con Automation Anywhere y AWS, que se llama contracargos. Esto es relacionado con las tarjetas de crédito, y el contracargo tiene dos derivadas. Te devolvemos el dinero, te acreditamos el dinero a tu cuenta, o mandamos el reclamo a las franquicias para que se procese de otra manera. De tal manera que estamos entrando en otro escenario mucho más delicado todavía. Una parte de control, pero la otra es hacia el cliente final, con un proceso tan delicado como la devolución de fondos a través de los contracargos de medios de pago, cosa que es muy, muy delicada.
Okay. Thank you so much, Milton. Gracias, señor.
Okay. Encantado a usted.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think this is the zero service desk and zero back office right now. I think that's a great strategy that we've got. We are going through the banks in Ecuador. Third, we're going to bring in two of our, one customer and one partner. We've got Exalta. From the Exalta, we've got Ishwar coming in. And this is, they are the Social Impact Award winners. And then I've got Sanjali. Sanjali, please come on board. Sanjali, welcome. Sanjali is our new summit partner. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dharma.
Thank you.
So looks like impact is the word of the day today. And I'm going to lean in on that and say impact one more time. But really, it's not a coincidence, because driving meaningful impact is what we do at Exalta for our customers, employees, partners, and to the larger community. So healthcare is one such sector which touches all of our lives, right? And we wanted to lean in to that sector and lean in on our experience in the healthcare and address problems that we have right now with the new technology that's available to us. And how do we do that? And the use case that we have, the problem that we are bringing up here, is a good representation of the kind of problems we have in healthcare. And obviously, US healthcare is complex. We all know that, right? There are a lot of hairy ball problems that's been there lingering for a long time, right? EOB, explanation of benefits, as it stands, it's one of those problems, right? Every claim that is submitted by a provider is processed by the insurance companies, right? And then you get a statement back in terms of what's being paid, what's covered, and who's responsible for what between payers and providers and patients. So, and this process in US, let's say 2025, we have processed 9 billion claims. That's a lot of claims. Now, for those of you who are not from healthcare, we know that 2012 was a mini Y2K for us, right? That was the deadline where we wanted to go transition over to the electronic processing of claims. And a lot of us did, right? And today, 85% of the claims are processed electronically, but the remaining 15% that we have are still processed manually. That's where these EOBs come, and these are essentially paper statements of how a claim has been adjudicated, right? And when we are talking about volumes, we are talking about 350 to 400 million pages or claims, EOBs, that are getting processed. That's a lot of volume. Yeah. That's a lot of, and since 2012, this has been there, this problem has been there for almost 15 years now, and we couldn't solve it. We couldn't solve it because of the complexity of the problem, because there are literally thousands of payers, right? And how do we solve, and there's different rules based on the state, based on the lines of service. There's literally thousands of them. So it's not an easy problem to solve, but given where we are with technology, we wanted to kind of tackle this problem, see where we can go with it, right? And we considered and say, what's the best way to do it? Yep. Right, and how do we go about? So we partnered with Sanjali and team, and we said, hey, let's put our heads together and see what we can do with. So Sanjali will walk us through that process.
Thank you, Ishwar. So he mentioned volumes, right? And that's where we came in. And we wanted to build this solution once and for all the healthcare customers. And we didn't want to put yet another Band-Aid to it. So we reached out to Automation Anywhere. We decided that we are going to build an end-to-end EOB processing solution, leveraging AI and automation and doing all of these things automated way, right? So for those who don't know about New Summit, so we are a spin-off from NSE-IT, which is India's national stock exchange, leading exchange, and world's largest derivatives exchange by trading volume. So we understand scale, we understand volume, and that's where we brought in that kind of expertise to the table and co-build the solution with Automation Anywhere, because these guys are best at what they do. So they built that unified system for all the healthcare customers and helped us deliver that for the healthcare industry.
Yep. Yeah. No. So the solution that we built, a quick sneak peek on that, is basically involves pretty much all across the board the technologies that we use on the Automation Anywhere side, including document automation, agents that will help assess and understand and build the ontologies and taxonomies for what the data that we are extracting, because the problem is not a data translation problem, right? It's essentially how do you kind of convert that and translate all of the different information? It's the same information being presented in different formats across different payers, and how do you kind of convert all of that, merge that into one form, and then we can bring it back into your systems of records, EHR systems, billing systems, whatever. So, and we were able to leverage agents, doc automation, and all of this together. And the results are really is what excites us in terms of what we have been able to do, because this problem has been sitting for 15 years and we couldn't solve it. And we couldn't solve it because it was a very complex, hairy problem. But now with what we have and with what Automation Anywhere was able to provide to us, we've been able to not only just address this, but address it in a pretty fast way and build something out. And we want to build on that on top of it. So we are excited on that front.
Perfect. And we are already taking that to market. We are transforming healthcare industry. Thanks to Mihir and Ankur's vision, we are receiving great response from our customers, as we are receiving from our Icera customers, because there's a huge adoption out there in the market. So thanks to Automation Anywhere and the team. If your teams are still struggling with manually processing the EOBs, and running on maybe caffeine and just copy pasting all of that, come find us and we'll help you go through that. We bring the automation, you take the coffee. Yep. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thanks for having us, Dharma.
I think the summary is, at the end of the day, if you hear it, it's all about the stories. This is where the partners and customers are coming together. And this is an ecosystem where all of us come together and solve a problem, and that's what you see it. And we'd probably present more stories next time. But before I leave, I just want to first congratulate all the winners, the award winners on the customer side, award winners on the partner side. I want to thank all the customers and all the 4,000 partners over the globe that we have, and of course the 35 plus sponsors. I want to thank everybody for being here and trusting us take you to the next level. So thank you. Thank you all.
Hey, thank you guys. So we have one more session left, but I first want to start by saying thank you all for showing up today for today's day 2 keynote. We've got one more session, and we also have some great breakouts and demo stations out here, so we're not done with all the fun yet. We have one more session to go. Kate, who is it?
Yeah, I would like to welcome to the stage Dean Angie from the NYU School of Professional Studies. She is here to lead a discussion on what's coming at all of us in the 5-year century.
Excellent.
Welcome. Thank you, Micah and Kate. Thanks so much, Micah and Kate, and hello. So I feel like I have the best job in the world. I am responsible for training and educating thousands of our next generation of interdisciplinary leaders at one of the largest and most global universities in the US. Last week alone, we actually graduated 12,000 students in the middle of Yankee Stadium. It was a joyous event, a really important moment. And yet, I also grapple every day with helping students, parents, career changers, alumni really make sense of this moment. The vast majority of our students would be captivated by the conversations that are happening here at Imagine. And just as many are also really nervous about what it means for their job search and their future careers. And so when a book like The 5-Year Century comes along that is relevant and practical on this topic, it's a true gift. It gives us the vocabulary, the context, the examples that really cut through those headlines. The insights in the book are relevant to employees, seasoned leaders, students, and faculty, and it's full of tips and advice that we can start to implement today. I actually think the most important sentence, in my estimation, in the book was actually on the last page. Humans were meant for more. A simple statement, but really profound. Humans were meant for more. I found the book to be really optimistic, really inspiring. It centers on leadership and the need for organizations to really be adaptive, to be human-centered and courageous. So let's dive in and welcome Nancy Hauge from Automation Anywhere and Timothy Driscoll from the Boston Children's Hospital to the stage to discuss the book and what AI transformation looks like in action. Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, here we go. All right, Nancy, so we're going to begin with you. So you used the idea of the 5-year century to really describe this moment. Why did you write the book, and why does the book matter so much now?
I think it matters partially because the world is finally catching up, I think, to what most of the folks in this room have known for a long time, right? That AI was going to change the world at a pace that we'd never seen before. And I think the rest of the world has just caught on to that, and so the timing for the meeting, the book felt perfect. Also, 9 years ago, Mihir Shukla asked me a question while he was interviewing me for this job. He said, Nancy, what do you think the role of human resources will be when 40% of the workforce isn't human? And I thought, well, I have to take this job now because I want to answer that question. And so that's, kind of how the book came to be. He was very prescient in terms of 9 years ago asking that question, because it's just today, I think, that the whole rest of the world is caught up with that curiosity. And that's really what inspired the book.
Excellent. And so, Tim, for 9 years, you've been at Boston Children's. What about this moment really resonates for you? What do you see within your organization?
It's really the fundamental opportunity. When I look at how we actually are getting things done, we have providers that are under the crushing burden of documentation. We have not enough providers to meet all of our patient care needs. We have operations that are fundamentally ineffective. So bringing that together with the work that we've been doing on the intelligent automation front has allowed us to enhance our operations. It's not about decreasing headcount, it's about allowing everyone to practice at the top of their license. And I think that as we continue to roll out this work, kind of in the same vein that it's been pointed out in the book, we're really seeing that change happen very, very quickly.
That's a great lead into a big topic in the book, Nancy, is corporate courage. And so can you talk a little bit about what does courage look like today within an organization?
I think courage is transparency, courage, having the courage to treat the adults that work with you like adults, to make certain that you're communicating with them, that you're not treating them like children, that you hide from truths. I think that takes a lot of courage. It also, though, builds and engenders an enormous amount of trust. And I also think that it's not about just the courage you have, but what you encourage in other people in terms of looking at the future. And so it's not just, do you have courage, but are you sharing it? Are you enfranchising it? Are you bringing other people with you? So, yes.
So something that we do in the Academy a lot is myth busting. And so I love the myth busting that you do in this book in terms of incremental change, human-only work, hierarchical structure, and technology servitude. Which of these myths do you see most often in organizations, and why are they so persistent?
Yeah, I think incremental change is the one that I see most often, that people say, how do we start in a little bite? How do I test it and prove it? They chatted about this a little bit yesterday, I think, in terms of pilot programs. Sometimes a pilot program is just, how do I delay a decision? When you have to, again, have the courage to do it. That concept of incremental change was very, very prevalent in terms of the quality work that we did in the 80s and the 90s around continuous improvement. But it doesn't work when you have technologies that are dislocating reality. They're suddenly giving you height and distance to the future. The incremental change just won't work. But we're very programmed for it for the last 200 years, and that is one of those things we really have to disabuse ourselves of in order to make the change as rapidly as we need to.
And so, Tim, the question that I get often from parents, from students, is what do we say to young people who are starting their careers or deciding what to study? And they feel like the uncertainty with AI is very much clouding their judgment on, do I even go to college? What do I study? What do I do? What are my prospects? If I study something now, isn't it just going to be outdated by the time I graduate? What do we say to that whole body of students and families who are wondering that?
Yeah. This hits close to home because I have a graduating high school senior right now. So we've had this conversation quite a bit. She's not a big fan of AI, but as we've looked at, just with her use case in particular, and then just how I see the world, is that going to college and studying what you're passionate about is really the key. I don't do what I studied in college today. I've been passionate at every point in my career about it.
What did you study in college?
Ethnomusicology.
Of course.
So that's how I ended up here. No, but really, what you get in the college experience is building those critical thinking skills, the ability to then bring that into business context, the ability to have continuous learning, which is really about what this is all about. And so, my 7 chapters of my career, my passions have been different. I expect my daughters to be the same. The world will be different in 5 years. But I think that going down the college route is still the best way to go.
Excellent. I happen to believe that, and thank you.
Right,
That feels good for me, working in a university. So Tim, you've done a lot of transformation work, and so for organizations that are trying to adapt, what's the first signal that they are still operating with a sort of outdated industrial mindset? I think there's a gap between wanting to change and actually changing. So could you talk a little bit about what are those indicators that you are not making that shift in your mindset to the degree that you ought to?
I see it in our organization all the time where there's too much focus on metrics, and really it should be focused on outcomes. And so when we look at a quarterly planning, it's not about the number of help desk tickets that get closed or the number of X, Y, and Z. It's not the metrics, it's really the outcomes. And so we look at the outcomes as being broader stroke goals that we can achieve. One of the use cases that we have recently that we were deploying is for our OR optimization for scheduling. And that wasn't necessarily going and looking at how do we take the existing process and either compress it or reduce steps. It's really about the transformation of making it such that we can address the location where a surgery is going to take place. And because we're doing this effectively, it's actually cut a lot of our steps that we followed today out and allows us to actually get 650 patients more care a year, which is huge, and then 65,000 more minutes in the operating room. And so that is the kind of transformational stuff where it's not about those core metrics, it's about these broader outcomes.
That's great. Nancy, one of the pieces in the book that I'm excited to take back and try are outcome-based teams, right? We love our task forces and our committees in our kind of context in higher ed, and so that's going to be, I think, really important to kind of think about. Could you talk a bit about, Tim just mentioned it, but what do leaders have to stop measuring, if they really want to succeed in this new kind of 5-year century?
I would like to start by saying I wish people would stop measuring the success of autonomous enterprise by how many people they got rid of. right? I think it's how many people you enable, how many people, how you can use cranial capacity of the human being in a way that we have not for the last 200 years. And so I think there's some metrics out of the industrial age that don't fit when you are truly optimizing human potential. So I think that there's a series of kind of, do I measure each step in the process versus getting the ball in the end zone? And the problem is the way you get the ball in the end zone isn't always that nice linear, I can easily measure it kind of process. Sometimes it is somebody being weird. It's hard to measure the weird, but I love the weird. I love that dislocated thinking. I would say everybody who works for me today is pretty weird because they're willing to lean into it so much. And that just, when you encourage that, you get different kinds of thinking. That's not measurable yet. We don't know how to do that. We have never been able to really understand how we should measure human creativity and capability. We're about to enter that age, which is why it's so thrilling to a behavioralist like me.
Thank you. And so a question for both of you. The book talked a lot about trust and psychological safety, and I had to read the sentences a few times to kind of understand it in terms of AI builds trust. That felt funny to hear. And so I'd love both of you, and Tim, let's start with you. I'd love to hear a story about how AI really helped to build trust, to improve the outcomes, to kind of look at this autonomous enterprise that you've been creating.
I mean, the use case would be our clinical documentation route. The fact that we're able to, out of the gate, originally there was a lot of concern that AI was going to misinterpret information or things like that. And for us on the trust building side, with AI being at the root of it, that is our foundation going on 8 years now. So at first, the concerns were that we wouldn't have the right information represented, that it represents a patient safety risk. But because of the muscle memory put behind it and the tens of thousands of notes that have been generated, and knowing that ultimately the provider is the one who's licensed on the line, so they need to make sure that's representative of things, it's actually built this level of trust in AI that I don't think we would have had otherwise. I think that the trust really comes in working with new groups where they see the success, they see the fact that it's repeatable, they see the fact that we have guardrails in place and heuristics and metrics for these things to understand that is where the trust ends up taking place.
That's great. And Nancy, the book has so many wonderful examples from customers and from kind of really every industry around trust. I'm wondering if you could kind of pick through some of your favorite examples of how trust has been built through kind of the adoption of tools.
Well, there's a variety. I'm not going to tell them all because I want you to read the book. But it's interesting about trust. I believe trust is a currency. Everybody knows how to earn it. And everybody knows how to lose it, but how do you spend it? And the way you spend trust is through acceleration of change. When people trust you, when the organization trusts you, they adopt your ideas much more quickly. When they don't trust you, they ask a bunch of questions. You can see passive kind of resistance, that sort of thing. It all looks like they're nodding their head and come along with you, but there's a lot of clarity that they need, a lot of cycling around that stuff. When your organization trusts you and you say, hey, we have to pivot, let's go left, everyone's like, okay, left. Now what? But okay, left. And that is, I think, what as you get information that comes to people that they're much more secure about, when you're in the G&A functions, finance and HR and IT, we're mostly about risk management and compliance. And so getting us to really be able to trust content and information that we didn't physically put into the computer, right? Because we have been programmed to do for all this time. Well, I'm not sure that's right because I didn't personally put it in. That was, for our functions, that's a leap of faith. That's a big trust. And once you get past it, though, my goodness, can you go fast? So between trusting what the agent is doing and trusting what leadership is telling them means you have supercharged your organization. Now you can go, yeah, man, that's a turbo.
Absolutely. So second to last question, Tim, what's next? You've done and been a part of such large AI transformations. What's some of the opportunities on the horizon at your organization that you're pretty excited about?
I mean, I always say that the opportunities are limitless. Some of the things that we're focused on now is really about agentic data exploration. We have a program going on right now where typically when we see parts of the organization, like say our neurosciences group, they look at things through the scheduling lens, the clinical lens, the financial lens. These are all these siloed systems, and people are running analysis and reports, but there's no connective tissue with this data. And so what we're doing now is actually building an agentic process that provides full continuity and crosswalks across all these silos to uncover the insights that we never would have found otherwise. And the interesting part there is that we're finding these opportunities that we've already turned into active programs of $5 million in operational savings that we can achieve this year if we just change some of these processes. And they're not always automations per se, although very frequently automations play a role in them. But when we see these $5 million, $25 million hits on things, and then we can start to show that these insights are actually allowing us to make a more productive organization, that's going to allow us to actually not decrease in headcount. That's going to allow us to increase in headcount with increased revenue and focus on research and additional patient care and doing a lot more than we are now. So I see it as not reducing the size of the organization. It's about a growth opportunity and expanding what it is that we do.
Thank you. That is something that I can tell our students and our parents very concretely. In closing, Nancy, if we could leave leaders with one message from this book, what would you want them to remember a year from now?
A year from now, I want you to remember that it is the next two generations, the millennials and the Zs, that are going to carry you forward the fastest. And as much as we talk about how we reskill youth, the truth is they've already got the skills. We're the ones who have to come up the learning curve. They're native. And if you tap into that energy, you will go very, very fast.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Nancy, for this inspiration and the insights that we can take home and begin to use in our daily life.
Thank all of you.